Photoshop, for some weird reason, does not come with a curvature tool that's symmetrical. You can't add symmetry, so when you change one side, it doesn't change the other side. Likewise, the pen tool, exactly the same. Doesn't change when you change one, and on the other side, it changes in a symmetrical manner. But there is a workaround, and of course, this is not ideal, as with most things. Of course, go and look for a vector application that actually uses symmetrical curvature tool will be better. But what you can do, you can go up to View, and then go down to Guides, and then go down to New Guide Layout. So select that, and I would suggest going with 8 and 8. You, of course, can vary it, maybe 16 and 16. That sort of thing, 32 or 32. Up to you, depending on the complexity of your design, I guess. So click OK. Once you've done that, let's just go and select a shape. And I'm going to go with a very basic one. This is what I mean. It's not a brilliant workaround because, of course, the more complex the shape will be, it's going to be more complex to actually make it symmetrical. So rectangle tool, and I'm just going to go up here and click here and then drag down. You can see it snapping as well, which is good because that's what I want. Go to View and Snap to Guides. Now, unfortunately, for some weird reason, and I do not know, again, please put in the comments if you know a reason for this, go to Curvature Pen Tool. I'm not going to use the pen tool, but I'm going to use Curvature Pen Tool. If you hover over here, it would be nice if there was a Snap to feature here. But there isn't. You can see you can go along, and there's nothing really, unless there's a shift or some option. But you can, of course, judge it and think, oh, you know what, that looks exactly the right position. Again, not ideal. And again, click there. And you can see even there, I just probably made slight. You could zoom in, I guess, and make it really accurate to make, if you want to get it exactly right. So I'm going to go with that one. And again, go up top and go here. So you got this. Well, what you can then do, curvature tool, hover over here, and you can see this changes, the cursor changes. And you can click here and drag, and this does snap, which is weird. The other thing didn't snap, but this does snap when you drag it across, so it snaps there. And you can then go here and drag this across, snaps again, and again, go down here, click it and then drag up, and then also click there and drag down. So you've got a symmetrical design. Again, it's not ideal. And of course, it becomes more complex if you've got down here. Again, the workaround would be to create guides for that line and then judge where you want to go, obviously from the position you are at. So I'm just going to go here and I'm going to manipulate this a little bit more because you can, of course, go here and select this, and you can see then I've got that. And I can drag this up and I can drag it up here. So, of course, you could again add more guides and you could then judge from that how to drag it up like that. And you could say, do that and then drag there. So you can create a limited amount of shapes fairly easily. Like I say, more complex shapes, the more guides you probably will need to get it exactly symmetrical. And of course, you can still continue here, modify these and so on. But say you want to go with some other shape, let's just remove that. And let's just go here. And this one, I'm going to go with ellipse tool. I'm just going to click here and again, just click and then drag. And that's it. Got my shape there. And you'll notice it is a shape. The key thing is that I'm using shapes, not using obviously pixel layers. So once you've done that, again, curvature tool. And then you can go up here and you can drag it. Now you can, of course, go here and you can see you could go to the same position there. So you could add a point. Now, whether that's halfway between that, I have no idea. Unfortunately, the tool doesn't go along and suddenly point out, yes, you're halfway along. Some applications, I think, have that sort of feature. It's just weird, or an area or measure tool that would suddenly indicate for you that position. Would be nice to be able to do it in Photoshop. But I'm just going to add design here. I'm just going to drag this in. So I've dragged that in, and you can see I'll put that there. I can drag this in. Put that there. Again, still symmetrical. But as I mentioned, I could go here and click here. And click here. Now there's a slight subtle movement, just shift with curvature tool. Doesn't make an exact as it was thing. It just does shift it slightly. Well, once you've done that, you can then, of course, you could add the same up the top as well. Let's just go up here, exactly the same position. So click there again, and again, click there. Obviously, the more complex, again, more guides would be needed. But then you can go here and you can think, you know what, I want to drag this across to here, or drag this across to here, or drag this one across. Again, you don't have to keep it obviously symmetrical both ways, but I'm just dragging it like that to create, again, a symmetrical shape using this approach. Of course, it would be ideal if Photoshop, select there, and you could have obviously a symmetry line through that and a symmetry line through that, and it would know that this was a symmetrical point and would go in the right direction. Obviously, there's a variety of possible options for that, of course, but I'm certain not beyond the wit of man to actually create something that would be useful. So you could drag in one way and it would drag in the other way, or drag inwards, those sort of options. And you could, of course, have that tool. Sadly, Photoshop does not appear to have that tool. But again, you can still manipulate this further. So again, you can drag this one in and you can then get a design like that, drag that one in and get a design like that. Again, still symmetrical. And you, of course, can do exactly the same with many of these other shapes as well. Of course, the more complex shape, it's going to be harder. So if you've got the polygon tool or triangle tool, perhaps maybe a bit more tricky. But again, you could use the guides and you can see there, if you drag that down there, you got that. And again, exactly the same curvature tool. You can then go to this position, click here and click here. And like I said, instead of going inwards, you don't have to go inwards. You could always go outwards. So let's just drag out to there. And now I've gone from there all the way to here. Now here, drag out there, and you got that. Now, so it does make it slightly more complicated when you're dragging out than probably dragging in sometimes, maybe. I have to say, I have to think about it quite a few times. And then click here and click here. So you might decide, you know what, I want that dragged up there. And this one, you could, of course, drag up there as well. But then you get that sort of design, but it's still symmetrical. There are limits to this. So please be aware of it. But you certainly can create a number of symmetrical shapes fairly easy by using guides. It is a pity that Photoshop does not have that feature inbuilt in the application. This is for PC and Mac. Photoshop, please put in the comments below if you've got any thoughts about this. Would you like a symmetry feature in Photoshop? Do you think it's something that's really odd and it's not included? Now, I haven't used Illustrator for quite a while, so please put in the comments below if you can do it reasonably easily in Illustrator. I assume that Illustrator can do that. Like I say, I haven't used it for quite a while, so I can't remember every feature of the various tools in Illustrator. Also, a like or dislike, always appreciated. And also please subscribe to the channel, always add new tutorials about Photoshop, as well as many other applications as well. Bye.